Welcome to the Agresource podcast with Dana Spalding and Mike Kerrigan. Agresource Inc., rooted in success since 1984. All right, welcome back to the Agresource podcast, episode 3. My name's Dana Spalding, and I'm here with Mike Kerrigan.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Doing well. How's everything going with you? How's the season worked out so far?
Oh, the season's been great, Mike. How about yourself?
It's been good. We've been getting ourselves into a couple different types of projects and different things, so it's been an exciting year.
Absolutely. One thing I get asked a lot this time of year is, what do you guys do during the winter?
Besides just kicking our feet up and relaxing, we do have a bit of work to do. A lot of times it's trade show season for us, so educational time, trade shows. You'll see us. I believe we have a trade show in every New England state set up already. So that, along with going down to South Carolina for the U.S. Compost Council annual meeting down in Charleston, South Carolina, and actually doing a short talk down there. So looking forward to getting in front of some compost people and discussing what we do.
Awesome. So staying warm in January while the rest of us are getting cold.
That's the goal.
All right. So moving on, to start out this segment, we're going to talk about a continued trend here in the landscape and construction industries, specifically engineered soils and how those soils are used in green infrastructures. Engineered soils are soils manufactured using specific ratios of sand, soil, compost, etc. for a particular function within the built and natural landscape. These components are generally pre-mixed at a facility using a bucket loader and then screened using a mechanical screener, the commonly specified screen size of 1/2 inch. This ensures that the soil particles larger than 1/2 inch are screened out during the process and that the finished 1/2 inch soils will meet engineers' specifications.
Do you ever see requirements for larger or smaller than a 1/2 inch screen size?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do. If we are dealing with athletic field or mixes for the golf industry, we'll see screen sizes of 1/4 inch or 2 millimeter. And if we're working on, say, soil for a landfill cap, we may see screen sizes of 1.5 inch minus. So there is variation depending on the project and intended use of the soil.
Gotcha, thanks.
So continuing on, oftentimes these engineered soils are being used to replicate soils found in the natural environment, such as a wetland, or to capture and filter stormwater runoff in developed areas. Because of their ability to capture runoff and allow it to slowly infiltrate back into the groundwater system while filtering out pollutants and unwanted nutrients, engineered soils have become a useful tool to help manage stormwater and stormwater-related issues. Some of the common engineered soils that we manufacture and supply here at Agresource are wetland, rain garden, and bioretention soils. Mike, as the sales and marketing director here at Agresource, what would you say is the most common engineered soil we produce?
That's a good question. In addition to manufacturing and distributing compost at Agresource, we have the ability to manufacture a wide range of specialty and engineered soils specific to the golf and turf maintenance divisions, athletic field installations. We do different media for potting mixes or container grown plant material, and we do specific planting soils for tree and shrub planting, high use lawn soils, in different environments like that. With all that being said, most commonly we're seeing recently and what we're producing is a bioretention soil.
So with that in mind, is there a reason why bioretention soil has become more commonplace and more popular?
So mainly we're seeing bioretention soils being used for stormwater management. As development increases in cities and states, natural areas that help collect stormwater and help control runoff are now being replaced with impervious surfaces such as parking lots. And these parking lots do not allow stormwater infiltration. As a way to better manage this, it's now common for new developments to include bioretention basins to help collect and manage stormwater runoff. Also, these basins are being used to not only slow the infiltration rate, but to hold contaminants in the soil and not feed into the groundwater.
And when we're dealing with these bioretention soils, what are some of the general guidelines or specifications we are seeing for this type of soil?
It generally depends on who is putting the specifications out there for the material, different architects or engineers. In general, we see some similarities with different regions around New England. Specifically, you can see a specification in the Rhode Island and Massachusetts areas that call for a mixture of about 85 to 88% sand, 8 to 12% silt, and less than 5% clay. With this, we're typically seeing an organic content percentage in the range of 1 to 3%. Another specification comes out of New Hampshire. It isn't quite as tight as the previous one. Basically, it calls for a sandy loam mixed with 20 to 30% fine ground wood and organic content a little higher, about 3 to 5%. Both are looking to do the same thing as far as slowing the infiltration and runoff into the groundwater and filter out contaminants along the way.
Interesting. And so the organic matter content percentage that you discussed seems to be lower than what we typically see in general use planting soils. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, because we're filtering the runoff water into the ground, the goal is to limit the amount of nutrient runoff as well. The addition of compost in the mixture will increase the amount of nutrients present. Limiting the volume of this organic amendment will also help to keep the leaching of nutrients low.
If the goal is to limit the amount of nutrient runoff, then why put compost in the mix at all if that's a concern?
Yeah, it's a great question. Compost will help to slow the infiltration of runoff through a sandy medium. So if you have a straight sand soil, water is going to run through quickly, not going to have time to slowly infiltrate into the ground. We also want to aid in the growth and development of the plants in those basins. They're not only aesthetically pleasing as a landscape piece, but they also aid in pulling nutrients out of the runoff water as the plants use those nutrients throughout the growing season. So the plants in the basins will actually pull the nutrients from the water in there and use them for growth.
That's a great point, Mike. That's something I get asked a lot, and that's, I think, an important component of those soils, just like you discussed. So moving on, engineered soils in green infrastructure continue to play an important role as challenges around development stormwater management arise. Here at Agresource, we are able to help provide solutions to those challenges through the use of our engineered soils. In segment 3, we're going to take a look at a recent project where Agresource provided bioretention and other engineered soils to help manage stormwater runoff through the use of bioretention basins and some additional green infrastructure components. We're going to move into the next segment where Mike's going to do a ride-along interview. Thanks for being with us, and stick around for segment number 2.
All right, here with Jonathan Hoffaker, one of the mechanics here at Agresource. So thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Let's start off a little bit, some background, where you're from, past work experience.
I grew up in Peabody for the most part. I live in Gloucester now. Went to high school for auto body repair. Well, from there I went to working on cars, working on trucks, and here I am with the big green equipment now, screen and soil.
Screen and soil.
Yeah.
Auto body repair, more kind of the outsides, actually we're on the bodies of vehicles?
Yeah,
or how'd you get into
paintwork.
the engine stuff?
It's just in my bloodline.
Yeah?
Just in my bloodline. Everybody, from my little guy all the way up to my father, my grandfather, everybody's always been a car guru.
So everybody's worked on machines?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got uncles working on trucks. I got people all over the trash industry and heavy truck industry. Where it's just in our bloodline.
Yeah, so you knew from the beginning?
Yep.
That's what you're going to be doing?
Right from the start, the Hot Wheels. I had an incredible Hot Wheels graveyard when I was a little one.
Really? Taking them apart, piecing them together?
Taking them apart, cutting stuff up,
Yeah.
making monstrosities.
Did you save any?
And no, they're all gone. I have one that my son takes very good care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, one special Hot Wheels I've had since I was probably 6 or 7.
And what is it?
It's a 1992 Chevy ZL1 Corvette with a big number 3 on the hood.
Nice.
Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt.
Yep.
Are you a racing fan?
Oh, big time.
Yeah? Have you been to any of the races around here?
Oh, been a long time. Been up to Loudon a few times for the NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
been New England Dragway, of course. You know, go up there on a weekend every now and again. But it's been a couple of years since I've been to a big circle track race.
So how'd you make your way to Agresource? So you said that you worked in the building we're in now previously?
Yeah, I worked here for 3 or 4 years under previous management, and decided to come back, try something new.
Nice. Yeah, so it's like you said, new challenge with different types of equipment.
Yep. Like I said, anything with an engine in it.
Yeah. So are you based out of the shop and then going on the road all the time? Are you mostly in one location?
For the most part, I'm here in the shop taking care of the trucks, but there's always site stuff to be done. You know, machines always break.
Yeah.
So,
what piece of equipment are you? I don't know. What do you like to work on the most? So now you're kind of seeing some different things, like you said, some green, equipment as far as McCluskey's screening plants go. I know. Did you do much loader work before?
never been into the loaders really deep before. There's a lot of hydraulic stuff happening there, buried deep in the bowels of them. So, I'll always be a truck guy, but those screening plants, really neat how they work. Really cool how such a simple design does such a great job at what it does.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's too many moving parts going on.
Yeah, the moving parts are kept really to a minimum. You got a lot of rollers, lots of bearings, but they're pretty much a reliable unit.
Nice.
They're cool.
Very good. So, Agresource is a company for composting and organics. You said you were in the trash business before that.
Yeah.
Any experience with kind of compost and organics previous? And if so, what was it? And kind of how have you brought what we do now?
Not so much composting myself. It surprises me that composting is thought to be such a new thing when that's how we did it for years and years. The garbage truck used to pick up garbage. Nothing was packaged. Everything was just food scraps. Your lettuce, your meat. You just composted it, and you were good to go.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the shift? Why do you think there's been a shift in it? Why is it this big thing now?
It's just easy to throw everything in one barrel, and that's what we do now.
So it's just kind of...
It's going to be hard to get everybody to... When recycling first happened, people thought it was crazy that you were going to take your plastics and your metals and all that and separate them from your garbage. And even that, it's surprising how very little is actually recyclable.
Sure. Yeah, when you really break down and look at what
your
properly...
Plastic bubbler mailers, no good bubble wrap, any soft plastic. None of that can be recycled. And it's just shocking that we led ourselves down that road to throwing it all in one barrel.
Yeah. So kind of ease for the consumer.
Yeah.
You know, it made it easy for everybody else and kind of led us down a path of not breaking things out. And
Waste.
Waste, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that kind of brings light to industries like ours and companies like ours that can take those separated materials and do something beneficial with them.
Absolutely.
So it's great. Favorite part of the job here?
Engines.
Engines?
Well, it all comes back to that.
Yeah.
I like the people. The people are great here. It's nice to get out in the field and play with some stuff off site and to learn new stuff. Be inside a machine.
So I think I know the answer to this question, but outside of work, what other interests and hobbies do you have?
The family. It's all about the family.
That's great. Well, appreciate the time. That's pretty much it. Wanted to go through just kind of how you came to Agresource, get to know a little bit more about you. It's great to get to know more people in the company as we all join together now with two teams joining together as one. So
absolutely,
I think it helps everybody to understand what's going on in a bigger picture and just keep things going.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool to learn about some of the stuff with the science and the soils and what goes into mixing some of the special stuff and what kind of specs you need to meet. It's a totally different industry.
Yeah.
It really is.
No, that's great. I feel like a lot of people in this company are curious individuals.
Yeah,
which is great
that's
because
what
everybody
brings
wants to
you
know.
here. Yeah, like the machines climbing in something different and seeing how the soils are made. It's very cool.
Yeah, I think everyone's got some kind of curiosity from if you're in the office, oh, what's going on in the garage down there? If you're in the garage, you're like, why are they
Come
actually
hang
making
out.
that?
Come hang out. Let's build something.
Exactly. I mean, I've been lucky enough to jump in a few machines and drive some stuff around, and it's something else that I like to learn. And
Yep.
it's always been, it's always something different every day here.
Oh, that's for sure.
So I think
That's truth.
I think that's what we all appreciate. So, but thank you, Jonathan, for coming up.
Anytime.
We'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good.
See you then.
Thank you.
For this last segment, let's talk about one of the projects we provided engineered soils on this year. Dana, you put together a project in North Adams, Massachusetts. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, that was a great project to be a part of, Mike. The Greylock's Works, or Greylock Mills facility, was a 240,000 square foot former cotton spinning facility located in North Adams, Mass. The existing mill space has been redeveloped into a mixed-use facility. Includes co-working spaces, art studios, an event and conference center, and a craft distillery.
Is this something you're seeing a lot more of with these old mill buildings being used as a mixed-use facility?
Absolutely, especially in these older mill towns. It's something we see a lot of, and there's always a landscape and soil component attached to all these.
Nice. When did you get going on this project?
Yeah, this project was during the summer of 2019. Agresource supplied bioretention and planting soils for the project. We imported 1,200 cubic yards of material. These soils were utilized for both planting and filter media for island planting strips and a bioretention basin adjacent to a large parking area.
Was it a local landscape architect that you worked with?
So on this one, no. The architects were based in Philadelphia, and that presented a whole different set of challenges, basically because the growing environment and the geography in western Massachusetts is a little different than than what they were used to in Philadelphia. So I was able to work with them to develop the soils from their original specification to a soil that better fit this specific project and region.
So you mentioned earlier when we were talking about bioretention soils that we use them on this project. So tell us a little bit more about those soils for this project specifically.
So this project had a large bioretention basin that we provided roughly 400 cubic yards of bioretention soil for. The basin itself was installed to capture stormwater from the parking area that was next to the mill. The parking lot also had 3 different island planters that collected and filtered stormwater into the bioretention basin. These planters had trees and shrubs planted in them, so it was important for this soil to not only be able to capture and slow runoff, but also support the plant growth.
So working with an out-of-area architect, what type of changes did you have to make to the original soil specifications to better fit the Greylock Works project?
Yeah, basically one of the main things we had to try out different mixes and test was the organic matter content. So in the planting soils, we had to add organic matter and boost that organic matter content up. For the bioretention soils, we had to lower the organic matter content a little bit.
I remember with this project, we had to go over a few things with screen sizing as well. It seemed like they were looking at a much finer mix than seemed necessary.
Yeah, that's correct. That's a good point. The original spec was asking for 1/4-inch screen soils, which from a project standpoint takes more time to produce. Typically will cost the project owners more. So we were able to work with them and develop a soil screened at 1/2 inch, which was a more common screen size for projects in Massachusetts. So we were able to work with them on that spec and help keep project costs down.
Yeah, it was a great way to use some of our regional knowledge and what works around here and show them some test results as well that prove that it wasn't necessary to screen to such a fine size for this project. So it was a great job working with those architects specifically and and helping them out, not only save money, but give them a material that worked out the way that they wanted to.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That was a great project to be working on, and I learned a lot on that myself. And so, that said, thanks again for being with us here on our episode number 3. And we look forward to moving into wintertime and seeing you all again. So thanks very much, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. Episode 3 in the books, and hopefully episode 4 will come along sooner than later. Come check us out, as usual, online, www.agresourceinc.com, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social channels. Check us out, and we'll see you on the trade show route this winter. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.